So when it comes to the structure of a good one-on-one, there's really, for me, there's six key facets to this. The first is some preparation. So this doesn't need to be super extensive. I usually say 5 minutes at tops, you should be able to prepare. What that does require is maybe the individual to send through some of their kind of comments and thoughts about what they want covered in the one-on-one. And the benefit in doing that is that they've reflected on the week or fortnight that's just gone, but it also gives you a chance to prepare some insightful, powerful questions that you can ask the person. So the second part is really spending some time relationship building. So this is both, connecting from an outside of work perspective. So what's happening with that individual personally, and how are things kind of going from a workplace side of things with their role, with their team, with the business more broadly as well. Then next up, I really like to start with a process of reflecting back. So working with the individual to think about the week or fortnight that's just gone. What have been some of the highs? What have been some of the lows? What have they learnt? What have been some of the barriers they've faced? And this reflection back is really where you're helping them tease out some of the growth and development that they've grown through, as well as kind of capture and celebrate some of the successes that they've had as well. Then I recommend some time to kind of look forward and think a little bit about what's on the person's plate for the week or fortnight coming, and how they're finding that kind of workload. Do they feel like they've got a good grasp on it, or do they feel like they're struggling a little bit? And based on that conversation, helping that individual prioritize what are the most important things that they need to be focusing on, and what are the things that maybe are less important, or that potentially you can take away from their plate and reallocate across the team. Then I do like to create some time and space for two-way feedback. So this is both feedback that you might have for the individual, and we'll talk a little bit more about feedback in just a second, but really trying to balance out both the positive feedback. So what are some of the really great things that the individual's doing? And if there are things that have cropped up that are more constructive in nature, having that time and space to have a conversation about that. But also then there's the feedback. When we say two-way, there's feedback the other way as well. So the individual hopefully has, you're creating that time and space for them to give you feedback about how you're going as a people leader, what they're seeing across the business, and even kind of any ideas they've got around things that could be improved, or any new ideas they have. So if, again, in that one-on-one, getting that time and space to do that. And then really to cap it off, just a short recap, just to summarize what you've heard during the conversation, any specific action items. It's worthwhile kind of clarifying and reconfirming those before you wrap up and say goodbye. Now, one thing to note is that there's a few areas there, and the beauty of doing the one-on-ones regularly is if you just need to dial up some areas and dial down some areas on any given week, that's totally fine. So you don't need to be super regimented. If we remember, these are informal conversations. So sometimes you might spend more time on the relationship building piece. Sometimes the individual might be in a bit of funk, so you might explore that a little bit more. Sometimes it might just be around the prioritization piece. They're really struggling. So feel free to kind of flex where you spend your time within any given one-on-one. The beauty is if you're doing these one-on-ones regularly, you'll hit all those key notes as you're going through, and I think that's the main thing.